What's up, Panther Nation? Welcome here for the post-game show. Panthers just suffered a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, first home loss of the season, 21-18. A heartbreaking loss. I felt like we came out the first half, completely controlled the game, dominated on the defensive side of the ball. But that's just what happens when you let teams hang around like that and don't put them away when you're supposed to. You let them hang around. A quarterback like Jalen Hurts can make plays on you, and sure enough, he outplayed our guy in the second half, and I think that proved to be the difference. So we're gonna I'll drop my thoughts a little bit later. I'll let Smooth go first since he's got on a time constraint tonight. So what's your thoughts on the game tonight, Smooth?
I think they strategically went to that read option in the second half. I'm sure we probably practiced for it during the week, but when the game came into the play, everybody forgot about Jalen Hurts. He's a mobile quarterback. I'm going to hold my edges responsible. They didn't do a good job of being disciplined. We always talk about gap discipline, but on the read option, you got to be extremely disciplined, and we didn't show that at all. Even late in the game when we could have got a stop and got the ball back and had a chance, Burns and Reddick were still overcommitting. I don't want to talk about the offensive line. I think I'll talk about that all day long. Y'all know what it is. I made a tweet earlier that people have paid attention to. You got a guy named Brady Christensen that played his whole entire life at left tackle, and you got Taylor Moton that's been spending the majority of his career at right tackle. Why switch them up? The offensive line as a whole looked really uncomfortable today. So it all trickles down. When your offensive line is trash, it puts more pressure on your quarterback. And we know what Sam Darnold is. We've always known that. So there's no excuse for what happened today. It's just this is a bad loss. I don't mind losing to the Cowboys. This is extremely bad loss because we were the better football team and we didn't display that. And I'm gonna hold coaching accountable from Chase Blackburn being the special teams coordinator to Joe Brady calling the shit game. That's just it is what it is. We know what Sam Darnold is, so don't hold we gotta hold Sam Darnold accountable, but we know what he is already. So it's like it is what it is at this point. I don't have nothing to say.
Yeah, what you got to realize about Sam Darnold is he's only going to be as good as the team around him. He's not the quarterback that's going to elevate a roster, and you know you can't have he's not going to mask deficiencies the way an elite quarterback can do so. I think Daniel Jeremiah says it best. Some quarterbacks are trucks, others are trailers. A truck, you can lead a team like Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. Those guys don't need to be, spotless across the board. They can have some O-line deficiencies. Maybe don't need, as much talent at wide receiver or running back, and they can still go out and win games for you. Darnold, Garoppolo, Goff, those guys are trailers. You have to have that support system in place for them to succeed. So I think, considering, I just think when you get behind like that, he's not protected. He's getting nervous in the pocket. That's what you're going to get from Darnold. I mean, we saw it for 3 years from the Jets, unless you turn the blind eye to his career before he got here. I mean, this is the types of games he's due to have this year. So, Kev, what's your thoughts on the game? I know you were there live at the stadium. How was that experience today?
Well, the experience was actually pretty good. I was surprised by how many people showed up, but unfortunately, the Eagles fan base travels well, so for me, it was they stayed quiet most of the game until that fourth quarter. That's when their presence started being felt. I mean, to see Eagle players on the field telling the crowd to get louder than they was like fuck you on the road, man. Like who, like where they do that at? But I forgot this is Carolina, so how our fan base can be fickle. Leaving early because they think they got the game in the bag and all that shit. Um, but as far as for me, we can talk about the offensive line till we blue in the face. It is what it is. No new players are going to be added. So that'd be like beating a dead horse. Y'all, Smooth was spot on. Why we got a left tackle playing right tackle, and why we took our right tackle that we just paid franchise money to and put him at left. Like this is not basketball. This is like I get having positionless players for depth, but your starters need to be able to master that particular position. I need my right tackle to be perform at a high level at right tackle. I need my left tackle to be able to perform at a high level at left tackle. This flip flopping, for whatever reason, because Moten definitely didn't, like Big Smooth said, Moten definitely did not look comfortable. He had a couple of false starts, which is rare for him. I don't know if he had any coming into the season today. Um, Granted, coming to this game, we said that the Eagles' defensive line was going to be, their strength, what they relied on. And damn it, they didn't come through. They really made that back seven look a lot better than what they had previously been playing. I was excited because, heading to the game, I said Tommy Tremble, will be a factor. And, boom, he started off the game, getting a touchdown. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this what's up. But yeah, this is, from the head to the last man on the roster, this loss for everybody. Sam Darnold definitely does not get a pass. I mean, I get what Big Smooth is saying about, protection and talent around him, but there were just too many opportunities. We left 3 touchdowns out there on the field today. Um, and when we look at when we just look at the opportunities out there, it was just completely lost, man. Sam Darnold was sacked 3 times. He was hit 8 more. So that's like 11 pressures on. Let's see how many throwbacks he had on 37. Um, Not forget a few hurries that he was able to manage out of. So he was steadily under pressure for a good part of the day. Um, but for me, as far as the defensive line, I'm disappointed. I'm looking at Brian Burns. Uh, you know, 2 tackles. And 1 tackle for loss when they get the quarterback. The Eagles were missing. The Eagles were missing, I believe, 3 offensive line starters, and I think both of their starting tackles were out. We did not have the dominant performance that I was expecting to rattle Jalen Hurts. Looking into this once again, that's why I really can't get excited or too optimistic whenever we hear that the opposing team doesn't have key players. For whatever reason, it affects us way more than it affects other teams when they don't have their key players. They went on the road, missing 3/5 of their offensive line. Um, back seven has been horrendous. Then, like I say, giving up, you know, hell of points and hell of it plays. And we made them look like a contending defense like ours today. It's just totally unacceptable. I don't know what the deal is with special teams. First, it was a blocked field goal. The game before, now it's a blocked punt. Um, just overall, man, it's just piss poor. Just totally unacceptable. A ugly loss. Regardless of what happens in the regular season, this will be the game that's gonna really stand out for me because we had control and we just couldn't. We don't have that killer yet. So um, yeah, man, that's my opening take on it.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of turning points in this game for me. One, we had the ball. Let me try to find that drive. It was it was right before the half. It was 1st and 10 at the Carolina 35. We had the ball. I believe we had 2 timeouts, and we had the 2-minute warning still just left in the half. So, I mean, look at the plays they ran. I don't know why Rule goes conservative here. He runs to Hubbard, run to Hubbard, pass to Hubbard, run to Hubbard, and then we're punting. So we're very conservative, despite having great field position right before the half. We punt the ball, give Philly deep in their own territory at their own 16. And look how aggressive they were. Jalen Hurts with a 15-yard pass, a 17-yard pass. They throw deep but miss it. So they drive the ball in 3-4 plays, get in field goal range, and kick a 58-yard field goal. So right there, they stole 3 points at the end of the half by being aggressive, whereas on our end, we were conservative. So, I mean, that's the part of the difference in the game right there. Darnold's first interception also led to 3 points. I mean, outside of that one turnover where we gave them a short field, I mean, the defense would have pitched a shutout that half. So you're talking about 6 points, Philly being able to steal points, whether it was the turnovers or being aggressive and stealing them at the end of the half to help gain that advantage on us. So I would like to see Matt Rule be more aggressive and, especially when we get the lead, there's no need to take your foot off the gas. And keep the game close and let this team linger around. I thought we had plenty of opportunities to put our foot on their necks, put the team, get up by a couple scores, get comfortable. And I think when we do that, that's when we're at our best, because you're not putting as much pressure on Darnold to try to press and make plays, when I think that's when you tends to make mistakes. And also, I think your defense, that's when they can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. So those are just a couple of areas on game management that I wasn't a fan of. As far as, some positives, I thought Chuba Hubbard in the running game got going today. I mean, I really like what I've seen from him as he's starting to get more reps and more involved in the offense. I thought Dante Jackson was phenomenal today. I mean, back-to-back takeaways. The pick he got on the sideline was textbook coverage. I mean, he's covering that vertical route over top, flips his hips, like a free safety or wide receiver, makes that interception on the sideline, gets the toe drag swag in there to get the interception on that play. And then on Devontae Smith, he did the peanut punch, forced the fumble, got the takeaway there as well. So I thought he was phenomenal today. I mean, he's just getting better and better every week. I thought Hassan Reddick, showed up again, ended our sack slump. And so he played well. I thought Derek Brown made a few good plays. Just an overall great performance from the defense. I thought they played fast. They were aggressive, controlled the game for the most part. It's just a shame that we have to waste such a good performance like that. You have any other observations about the defense today, Kev?
Yeah, I just think that by the being on the field so much, eventually caught up because the tackling in the fourth quarter really started to look poor. They those we pretty much contained their running game for 3 quarters, and all of a sudden, we just allowed them to just get get big yards to really just close us out. Now when you look at it, they only had 91 yards, but when you look at when and how they got them yards, you just look at how they closed out the game. You know what I'm saying? With us, it was just let me pull it up here. Miles Sanders 7 yards, Miles Sanders 18 yards. Um, you know, Gainwell 12 yards. And by then, they done forced us to burn our timeouts. Now prior to that, we had held them under 6 yards. We was back on our normal strong run defense. But I think this right here, when you need to muster up the strength, I just think that we really just didn't have it. And I really think that despite dominating the time of possession, we had the ball for 35 minutes. They held it for 25, but they had it when it counted the most, and they was able to squeeze it out. So, um, for me, this is just real bitter. This is giving me the taste from that 2017 loss to the Bears. This is how I feel. A team we went in thinking that we should actually, win and definitely, um, dominate and come out strong, and we just, what I'm saying, we shit at the bed. We just shit at the bed. There's no other way. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, and you look at the Eagles' last possession, it's like they were trying to hand us the game. I mean, Miles Sanders ran out of bounds like on back-to-back plays. So the coaches finally benched him and said, for making those bonehead mistakes. But then they let Gainwell come in and gain 14 yards. So I think the defense at that point, I mean, as hard as they were playing, I just think they got to the point where they were tired and we just couldn't put up much of a resistance to get us one more possession. But then again, if we had that extra possession, I mean, we saw what our 2-minute drill looked like the possession before. We barely moved the ball, had penalties. I mean, it was just reminiscent of last year. I mean, we, had the same issues with execution during 2-minute drill and crucial game situations last year. And it looks like it's carried over into this year as well. I mean, you started off the drive in the hole with a holding penalty, so we're 2nd and 18 or 3rd and 18. I mean, luckily we make Darnold completes a pass to Robbie, but then next Moten, I think, or Millers gets a holding penalty, so we're 1st and 20. And then I think that's when Darnold ended up throwing his 3rd interception of the game on that first down play. So just poor execution, penalties, bonehead mistakes. What's the sign say? DBO. You know, it's been beating ourselves for the most part throughout that game.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the penalties here, I mean, we 9 penalties for 69 yards. So when you got 9 penalties and 3 turnovers, you're setting yourself up for to lose because again, looking at time of possession was almost 2-1. Like I said, 35-24. Um, 35-25. But we outrushed them. Now oddly enough, coming in, Hurts wasn't actually known as a accurate passer. He didn't have a touchdown pass. He threw a pick himself, but he made the big connections when he had to. And I just think that I don't want to say we overlooked the Eagles. I don't feel like we did, especially coming off a loss to Dallas. I felt like we was come out guns blazing, but we're our own biggest enemy right now. We look at our last 2 losses. We look at the things that were self-inflicted by us versus what the other team forced us to do. It's easily you can you can see why maybe 5 plays in the last 2 games we possibly could be 5-0 right now. So we are our own biggest enemy. In spite of all the issues with the offensive line and uh, you know inability to connect deep downfield on a consistent basis. Still not getting a tight end involved in the game consistently. I mean, I know we're just fans. We're just speculating and thinking what should be done, but it just some stuff just seems too obvious, and we're just not you know converting and taking advantage of it.
Well, let's build on that a little bit because I told y'all in the chat that I wasn't going to hold back on this show. So let's get into that a little bit more. You look at these last 2 weeks, the crucial plays that are changing the game are the turnovers, right? You got 2 bad interceptions last week against Dallas, and we come back this week and we have 3 interceptions. That's 5 interceptions in 2 games now. Now I get it. The offensive line has not been great, but you're looking at these missed throws, these off-target passes, these interceptions. These are from clean pockets. He's not under pressure every single play. If you look at our pressure rate for Darnold in comparison to the league, I mean, he's like 10th. So there's quarterbacks in this league that are under pressure on a larger percentage of their dropbacks than Sam. So I think what separates great quarterbacks from everybody else is how they react under pressure, how they maneuver the pocket, how they can stay composed, go through their progressions, make the right throws, throw with timing and anticipation. And I think these are all things that he's just not strong at. And I think that's becoming a problem. So I think there's so much blame on everybody else. Joe Brady, the offensive line. I know Robbie Anderson's been a scapegoat now. What is this? Let's rewind a little bit. When we took Sam Darnold from the Jets, what was the narrative? It was Adam Gaze's fault. He didn't have weapons. He didn't have an offensive line. The Jets are toxic. All these things, we're making excuses for why Darnold was bad in New York. He comes here, we say we're going to give him a better situation here. He plays 3 decent games against, subpar competition. And we're like, okay, see, he's rejuvenated. But now he's starting to revert back to his old habits. Even even in clean pockets, he's reverting back to his old habits. He's very slow processing. He holds the ball too long. I think it's time we have to stop coddling Sam Darnold and just call it for what it is. We went from blaming Adam Gase, the Jets' weapons, and the Jets' offensive line organization, and now we're making Joe Brady the offensive line, and now I guess Robbie Anderson's the new scapegoat now as to why Sam Darnold isn't playing that well. Why can't we have to start telling the truth about who Sam Darnold is? Maybe this is a part of who he's been since at USC. Is throwing these turnovers, making these mistakes. What has he done? What has he accomplished to deserve this coddling that we're doing? We keep coddling this guy like he's won Super Bowls for us. He's in his 4th, 5th game with us, 5 turnovers in 2 games. He has to play better. Bottom line, he has to process faster. He has to get the ball out of his hands faster. He needs to get Robbie involved, Terrace Marshall involved. I mean, back-to-back throws. I think it was in the 2nd quarter. Robbie Anderson beats his guy deep, wide open. Ball needs to be laid out there so Robbie can run underneath it. Last week, he overthrew Robbie. This week, he underthrows him. And you see Robbie at the end of the game just blowing off because he just can't get involved in the game. They can't get the ball to him. And then the very next play right after that, Terrace Marshall is wide open in the hole of the cover 2, and Darnold overthrows him from a clean pocket. So I think right now it's just time, it's time to hold Sam Darnold accountable for some of his failures instead of always trying to find other people to blame. Because I feel like right now we're trending towards the same thing with the Jets, where the new scapegoat replacing Adam Gase is Joe Brady, Matt Rule, and the Panthers coaching staff. So we just had JD join us. What's your overall thoughts on the game?
Bruh, this one was tough for me because this was my first game back like in person since like 2014. So to think of one singular thing, well, one thing that pissed me off more than anything else is how often are we gonna come out into or put ourselves in situations that are not our strong suit. Like I don't understand how we could get to a third and short, fourth and short. And I guarantee you, if you charted every formation or every personnel grouping we've ever done in third down and short, fourth down and short, the fewest converted from the formation fewest converted from will probably be 13. And we come out in 13 personnel. And I don't have a huge problem with that. But I have a problem with it because we were running the zone off tackle all that drive and nobody stopped it. The drive previous to that, all off tackle zone plays, no way they never stopped it more than 3 yards a carry. We was getting 3-4 yards a carry. So I'm like, dude, you gonna not do what works to be cute. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think
And I can't even blame. I can't even blame. Let me go ahead and say this. I can't even blame Joe Brady totally for that. But like, come on, dog. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I mean to back you up, JD, and like I said, it was good to meet you and the fam at the game. Um, had a great time, politicking with you pregame, but um, again, the irony, the Eagles have been putrid running, yet they're converting on the run on fourth downs, third and fourth downs. While we continuously, fail to convert. I mean, like I've been saying for weeks now, when we're in third and one or going for it on fourth, and like I said, I see that heavy personnel package coming out, I'm already expecting us to either punt if it's third down or turn the ball over on fourth down. I'm almost to the point. Look, come out heavy and just play action pass or something. Because obviously we're not built to run and get 1 yard when we need it. We're not. And that's disappointing when you think you're in the NFL and you can't get 1 yard when you need it the most. What if our playoff berth was on the line? We're on the 1 yard line, 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter, down by 4, and we need a yard. How confident are you? And I hate to say it, I'm not confident at all. But I and it's fucking depressing, man. It truly is. For something as a franchise, we primarily have that tough running ability to get that yard. Now we can't. We can't get it. We can't get a yard. 1 yard.
Imagine being an offensive coordinator, knowing in the back of your head that on third and one and fourth and one, you can't just run a simple halfback lead or something to get a yard because you got to scheme around an offensive line that just can't move people. So I mean, I know people are frustrated, and I mean Joe Brady's the top guy of the offense, so I understand being accountable. It falls on him. But look at me. I mean, just think about in his shoes. You have to scheme. You have to run these cute little trick plays just to get a yard because your offensive line can't move guys off the ball consistently. I mean, that's the kind of things that kind of tie his hands with being able to efficiently run his offense. I think we look at that. What was it, a third or fourth and one at the end of the game? That Royce Freeman got stuff. Who was it? Colin Thompson, I think, missed the block on that play.
I haven't even went back and seen it. I was just too busy, pissed. Um, yeah,
That's who it looked like. That's who it looked like.
Right.
I have to go back and watch it though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I think with Joe Brady, it's two things that's challenging with him. One, I just think it's the lack of talent at the offensive line and at quarterback. I mean, I'll say that as well. I mean, think about the great offensive minds from Bill Walsh had Joe Montana, Don Shula had Dan Marino. I mean, Kyle Shanahan and McVay, look what they did at quarterback. Shanahan finally upgraded to Trey Lance. McVay finally went out and got Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, every offensive mind is only as good as its players when you really think about it. So when you have guys like Jared Goff, like who did Shanahan have, Jimmy G, and Brady with Darnold, it's more putting the guy on training wheels and trying to manage him, scheme guys open, make the reads simple, control him so he's not going to go be erratic and turn the ball over and lose the game for you. And when he has that, his hands are tied. So I think just the issues at quarterback and offensive line are kind of holding Joe Brady back from being, as having that explosive offense that we saw him run at LSU. You can't fix everybody. I mean, players got to execute the plays that are called. I mean, if a receiver is running wide open and pass protection breaks down and we give up a sack, is that Joe Brady's fault? If Robbie Anderson beats his guy one-on-one, we get the matchup we want, he's wide open downfield, and the ball's overthrown, is that Joe Brady's fault? We can't move guys off the ball to convert 4th and 1. I mean, we're going to blame Joe Brady for things like that. So I think it's more so execution errors why you're not seeing Joe Brady live up to the hype that he gets as one of the better offensive minds in the league right now. Kev, I know you saw a lot of those stunts. What are we struggling with these stunts teams run? It seems like every week it's a new stunt getting through to Sam Darnold.
For me, yeah, I was, paying attention to that. It's not no new stunt. It's the same old tackle in loop stunt that I'm seeing. I saw a couple where the D tackles, looped around each other. But again, this is all about the five guys, being in cohesion here. Um, and let's just call it what it was. We was dealing with two beasts up in the middle, Fletcher Cox and Hargraves. Here, I mean, Fletcher Cox did to Dennis Daly what he did to um, Trey Turner back in 2017 when he came out here. I mean, had him on skates. I feel like I was watching Ice Capades in October. I mean, just literally just with very little resistance. Um, but yeah, it's really not no new stunts or twists that were just being done. We're just still not executing our players. And I'm seeing comments about the offensive line coach. Let me stop right there. What can another offensive line coach come in and tell these players during the week that's going to make them execute it on Sunday? That's what kind of rubs me somewhat kind of about when people want to question our fans, want to question coach. Now don't get me wrong, coaching is like, but as someone that's coached the offensive line, someone that's played the offensive line, they're not being coached this during the week to play like they're playing on Sunday. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there was times that there was clean pocket, and then we had some misses. But on the obvious stuff, we just don't have the type of talent that can really unleash the potential of this offense. With the right offensive line, this could be a top 5 offense with the weapons we got, everyone healthy. But with this line that we have, like I said, we I don't even know how many points we scored in the third quarter all year. Like maybe 7? I mean, then when we look at second halves altogether, we're pretty much a first half team, and then we just pray and hold on in the second half. And I don't like that feeling. I really don't.
And the question becomes, I mean, what it seems like with the third quarter. I don't think there's anything magical about the quarter. It just seems like it's the same thing every week. I mean, quarterbacks under pressure, turning the ball over. And the thing is, though, the defense played great in the third quarter, I thought, for the most part. And I think that's when Dante was forced 2 turnovers on back-to-back possessions. So it's really just offensive execution. I think that's been our problem, Achilles heel in the third quarter throughout the year. But if you think about it, I mean, was the first and second quarter on offense today really that much better? I thought we completely dominated the first half for the most part. We went into halftime with a 15-6 lead and a single-digit lead. So the scoreboard didn't really reflect how dominant we were. We were moving the ball and how good we were on defense. So it's just something to think. I think if we come out like this against Minnesota, it's going to be another long day unless we get some of these things fixed. So, JD, what were your thoughts on the defense today, particularly the secondary? Like Dante Jackson, I thought played a good game. AJ Boye starting to come along.
I saw a lot of Dante. 2 back-to-back forced turnovers, the forced fumble, and then the interception. I think he had a great day. If I remember correctly, I think Keith Taylor Jr. played a lot. AJ Boye was in this at nickel a lot. Sean Chandler, Sam Franklin. I was most impressed with Dante. I think Dante has kind of proven himself to be the guy who can make a play regardless of the situation, whether he's coming up and hitting and making a key tackle in the flat, forcing a turnover. I'm not sure. You can tell that there is not a guy that they're 100% confident in to man up with the other receiver on the other side of Dante just yet, because you can see a little bit more zone than what we've seen in games where we had our cornerback room healthy with JC. So hopefully Stephon Gilmore coming along would help change that. I think our safeties, I think they're playing average. I haven't seen anything coverage wise that's impeccable. I don't think Sam Franklin, that long catch was his fault. I think that might have been like cover 3 or something, seeing it from the stands, but and it was just a good play call. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure Chin is a safety. I think he's best up playing linebacker and attacking the ball. So hopefully we can get that figured out sooner or later, or he hits his stride. But I'm not thinking. I don't think he's a free safety. Not full time, at least.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit there. I mean, I could see your points. I mean, we're talking about basically we had them all last year playing mostly linebacker, some safety. Now this year it's the opposite. That's just something I just think he has to grow into. And personally, I've seen him get, better and better at it. But that's just me. I'm a line guy speaking on secondary, so I may be out of turn. But just whenever, rarely have I seen, Chin out of place or blowing something consistently. Um, here now, supposedly he's supposed to be an interchangeable safety. Being able to play the strong or the free. Naturally, you would think strong safety probably would be suit him best. We could play, uh, you know, play in the box. But I've seen him make plays, downfield and get some deflections too. So I just think that we just got to be patient, let him grow more into that role. Like I said, it's just really his fifth game into it. But that's my personal thing about Chin at safety. I like him back there, and I just want to see him continue to grow and get coached up back there.
Seemed like today it was they did a 3 package with Sean Chandler and Sam Franklin, either playing as a 2 deep safety or a single high that would move Franklin back there. And Chin was playing a lot of his reps in the box. I'd be curious to see if we look at snap by snap, if he's really even playing free safety that much this year. It seemed like to me they had either Franklin or Chandler primarily playing a post safety position. But I think on that deep ball to Quez Watkins, I mean, look, anytime you get any safety, Sam Franklin or anybody else, one-on-one with Quez Watkins like that, that's a mismatch.
Yeah.
And any
Yeah, it's a
quarterback
mismatch.
can attack that. I mean, it's
Yeah. That can't be his fault. That's not his
yeah,
fault.
yeah. So, I mean, it looked like Quez Watkins was in the slot. It might have been a cover of 3. They caught a good matchup. I think Quez was able to turn him on a route, which a receiver is supposed to do, to a safety. And it was just easy money once he was able to get that matchup he wanted once Hurt stepped into that throw. But that was a big play as well. I mean, that was but it shouldn't have come down to that. I mean, which game should have been long out of reach before Philly made that play.
Yeah, like I said, we left 3 touchdowns out there. The one to Robbie, the the touchdown we should have gotten in the zone off the bad snap that ended up being a safety. That's 2, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
and then the one to Terrence Marshall. You know, but in the words of our former coach, missed opportunities.
Yeah, what happened on that must snap? Because it looked like Jalen Hurts tried to pick it up like a loaf of bread, and then nobody was in the area to try to hop on the fumble. And I guess it just ended up rolling out of bounds for a safety. I mean, that would have been a game-changing play right there.
Yeah, like I said, it just made me feel like that was something we hadn't practiced.
Right.
Situational football right there.
Yeah, what do you think of Moulton at left tackle and Christensen at right tackle? Or how much of that were you able to see today?
Oh, I was paying attention to that exclusively. Um, I went smooth, let them play their natural positions. Like, again, when it comes to offense line, your starters should be. I understand the need for position flexibility because of injuries. You can't keep so many players, active come game day. But I'd rather my depth be position flexible more so than my starters. Let if we're gonna depending on how long Cam Urban is out, let Brady go ahead and get his lumps at left. At least he'll be more comfortable because I kept seeing both of them get put on skates, moving backwards multiple times. On that first Brady interception, both of them about met. I mean, not Brady. Darnold interception. Both of them met him back with their backs to him as he threw the ball. So, Moulton has played right tackle, right side of the ball his whole college life, and primarily since been here, let him stay on the right side. Like, let these players be at their natural comfort, and that's what I feel. So I'm not a fan of leaving it as it is. Christensen at right and Moulton at left. No, let them go back to what's natural for them.
How come our QB can't identify mismatches on routes? That's interesting you bring that up because I think on the first interception, you had Robbie Anderson in the slot, or it was still Terrace Marshall or Robbie Anderson running a speed out from the slot position, and you had I think it was DJ running a vertical in the cover 2, and Slay, as a flat corner was like 10 to 15 yard playing at 10 to 15 yards. And I guess Darnold tried to squeeze it in between the corner and the safety, and Slay was able to go up and snatch the interception. When you probably had a pretty good mismatch on the speed out. I think it was first down and second down, so we didn't really need to get all the chunk yardage right there. So I just I didn't think the protection broke down on that play either. It's just he's got to make better decisions in the pocket. It's just no other way to sugarcoat it. Holding again, number 65. Yeah, we did seem to have a lot of holding penalties today. I have to watch the film to see how Daly played. I know he had 2 back-to-back good games in a row. The problem today is with the Eagles' defensive tackles. It looked like the times we chose to double Fletcher Cox. Hargrave got one-on-ones, and he was able to win those, which, your guard's going to lose some of those, regardless of who it is. And then when they went to, or when Paradis would slide to help out Daly on Hargrave, Fletcher Cox was able to defeat John Miller one-on-one. And again, John Miller's, serviceable, but one-on-one versus Fletcher Cox, even Pro Bowlers like Trey Turner will struggle with that matchup in his prime. So, I can't really knock guards for losing a rep here, losing a rep there, when they end up in those one-on-one situations with defensive tackles of this caliber. What'd you think of that fake field goal punt, JD?
Bruh, that thing, bruh. I was blown because I saw the direct snap go to the kicker. I was like, oh snap, they're gonna throw it or it's a trick play. This man punted the ball. I was like, okay, why not just let your punter punt the ball, bruh? Why not? What was the purpose? What was the purpose of your kicker punting the ball, bruh? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it was probably two special teams. We had that was a questionable special teams play, and then the block punt at the end. They ran some kind of stunt that caught our protection off guard. They were able to block the punt at the end. I mean, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin at that point, giving Philly the ball at our 20-yard line.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Boy, blown.
Oh, he did. Yeah, I saw one of Brett's videos, I think the other day, where he did kind of a breakdown of the personnel packages we were running against Dallas and how effective they were. And I agree with it. We were playing a lot of nickel against their two tight end sets, and we weren't able to adjust to that. I mean, it'll be interesting to see today because I don't know if we were effective against the run. I just thought Philly I just thought there was a bad decision on their part not to commit to the run, especially early in the game. I think when they started to get the read option involved, Hurts running the ball, got Sanders going in the second half, their offense was much more effective. So I'll see if there were any adjustments made in the run defense this week. No returner. What do you think of Alex Erickson, JD?
If you took Pharaoh Cooper and made him a white man, you would have Alex Erickson. I mean, that's not necessarily right. That's what I was about to say. It's not necessarily a bad thing because if your kick returner is sure-handed, then that's a plus. But as far as doing anything with the kicking, nah, man, we ain't getting no extra yards and nothing like that off the kick return. Just don't fumble my ball. That's all I care about.
What happened they ran kind of a stunt on our punt protection. I don't remember exactly who missed the assignment, but I think it comes down to what their assignments were. They kind of had more guys rushing than we had blockers. I have to kind of see it on the all 22 to see how they executed it. But it was a nice little stunt they caught us off guard with. We weren't able to get everybody blocked, and the guy just came in clean, made the play. Now, what I like about the block was that he was able to just get his hand out to avoid roughing the punter in case he missed it. I mean, sometimes you just got to give your opponent credit for making a good play. I think they just had a good punt block design play on that particular play right there. But once they got the ball, go ahead.
Now go ahead for the point. I was going to talk about something, but go ahead.
Yeah, I guess when they got the ball back, it looks like they got the read option game going. What do you think went wrong on that last couple of defensive drives?
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was leading into. So, I'm looking at the Eagles rushing in the particularly in the fourth quarter. Here that seems to be when they implemented their read option more, and here's the results. Miles Sanders got it for 4 yards. Jalen Hurts kept it for 14 yards. Miles Sanders 3 yards. Jalen Hurts 6 yards. Let's see. Okay, then they was incomplete for fourth down. That was just on one drive, their first drive in the fourth quarter. Then after the block punt, I mean, it was just pretty much cookies after that for them. That was just you know, uh, Hurts rushing for 6 yards. And then I went over the plays earlier how they ended the game: 7 yards, 18 yards, 12 yards. All of those off of read option runs. So, you know, the Hurts didn't keep it the first 3 quarters. I didn't know if y'all was paying attention there. He was mostly handing off when we was feeding on it. And I think maybe coincidentally that was maybe the setup
The setup, yep.
because they went exclusively with keeping it because there was a couple times I'm thinking, man, if Hurts would have kept it, he would have been off
If,
to the race, but he didn't. So I'm thinking that possibly they roped it up. That's like, okay, we got them thinking this whole game that you're gonna hand it off. Now I want you to keep it some when it's there, and sure enough, he did. So Hurts kept it 4 times in the fourth quarter, and and did all of his damage, with his pretty much with his rushing yards here because overall he had 30 yards. I know they don't sound like much, but those 30 yards rushing, those were in the fourth quarter. 3 of those, one was a touchdown and 2 were huge first downs
first
that
down.
that's killed us. So when you look at, oh, we held Jalen Hurts to 30 yards. Nah, when them 30 yards came, um,
Yeah, what they were doing in the first half is RPO. So Hurts has the option of either handing it off or passing. When you have a running QB, I know Norv Turner used to do this because Cam Newton could run too. You have a third option. You can hand the ball off, pass it, or do a quarterback keeper. So I think they might add that little wrinkle to their RPO packages as well. As good as Hassan Reddick played, though, I think they got smart and started to use his aggressiveness against them because on one play, I mean, Jalen Hurts just pulled the ball out of the running back's guts. I mean, Hassan Reddick had fully committed to the halfback dive. So Jalen Hurts was able to pull it out the running back's gut, fake out Reddick, and he was down on the sideline. I think on the touchdown, one of the touchdowns, Jalen Hurts, he had 2 rushing TDs, right? On one of them, it looked like Jeremy Chin had responsibility for the quarterback. It was hard to tell because we had 4 guys out there, and all 4 of them bit on the dive, and Jalen Hurts ended up keeping it, running it in. And, of course, I mean, I know y'all saw him do the Cam Newton Superman dance in the end zone. What was the crowd reaction to that?
They weren't pleased. We weren't pleased. We weren't pleased, bro.
First, I thought it was funny because
I liked it from the respect standpoint. I was like, okay,
yeah, because he said he was a Cam fan,
right.
So to come back to Cam's old home and try, like I say, the petty side of me kind of get why he did it. So um, I thought it was funny myself.
I ain't gonna lie to you. One of those key first downs, Chin was responsibility was to fit that in case the quarterback keeps it. I think that a part of that was him going from safety to in the box as linebacker, because the safety you can't attack everything you see. So I think he hung back some and didn't come up to and fit that seal the edge off. So I think that kind of hurt him, and then Jalen was able to take a good little angle to where he couldn't get him. So I think that's part of the reason why I said I think Chin might be better suited to play more linebacker than safety.
But now we did get the ball back. I mean, let's see. So Jalen Hurts scores. We get the ball back, 2 minutes, 38 seconds. I believe we had all of our timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, right? So you look at what we come out and do. I mean, we have an incomplete pass to Tommy Tremble. I think he dropped that one. That was off his hands. He had Darnold misfired on Ian Thomas completely. I don't know if that was a miscommunication or what.
That was huge.
Yeah, because he was open too.
Yeah, he was wide open.
And it looked like just a misfire, but maybe it was a miscommunication. I don't know. Taylor Moton had a false start penalty. And for those, and I think with Moton, he's really one of the least penalized players on our team. But that's one of the things, probably moving the left tackle. Maybe he was kind of more nervous about the speed rush and wanted to get more of a jump because it's a different pass sets from the left side versus the right side. So that may have contributed to his 2 false start penalties today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 3rd and 15. Okay, Darnold finds Robbie Anderson. They were playing a soft zone. Robbie was able to find that spot, so they were able to connect there. But then what happens again? We have an offensive holding on John Miller. So now we're 1st and 20. So, I mean, they're already against the sticks again. So you look at this 2-minute drill, game-winning drive execution. We already have 2 penalties for 15 yards. We have a drop pass to Tommy Tremble, and we have a complete off-target throw to Ian Thomas. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of last year with poor execution on game-winning drives. And then on the 1st and 20 play, okay, I mean, we're not in bad shape. It's 1st and 20. We're on our 35, right? We have 3 timeouts. We have a 2-minute warning. Just slowly move the ball down the field. All we need is 3 points. So I think what Joe Brady had designed there was he had a slot receiver going vertical on a 9 route and kind of a high-low action with Robbie Anderson running a 10-yard out and Chuba Hubbard running a flat. And if you look at the replay of that, you'll see Chuba Hubbard was open in the flat. All Darnold had to do was dump it off, let Chuba turn upfield, maybe get 6-7 yards, and it's 2nd and 13, which, I mean, we're still in good shape considering it's 4-down territory. But I think he threw a late ball to Robbie. And when you're throwing those outs, speed outs, deep outs, the worst thing you can do is throw the ball late. When the ball's late, you're giving the cornerback an opportunity to jump the route and get the interception. And I just think that's what happened. The ball was late behind Robbie, the corner. I mean, in his post-game interview, he said they had run that play a couple of times, so we would be able to sense it and jump it. And he just made a play on it. And I think it was Steven Nelson. And he made the game-winning interception. So, I just think these remember, I think what it was that Teddy said that we need to practice more red zone in 2 minutes. Is you kind of seeing that lingering over from last year?
For me, I just feel like situational football we're still having an issue with. Everybody, when I say everybody, a lot of fans got in their way, felt some kind of way when Teddy said that on that podcast about that these were things that we didn't practice as much. But now when they come to light without them being here, it is very similar, type scenarios where we're not executing. We're not executing on 2 minutes. We're not executing on short yardage. We're not executing, the opportunity to, fall on a ball that's rolling around in the end zone. I know that may seem like, well, how often does it happen? Well, it can happen. So you gotta be prepared. Cause it hit like 3 Panthers' hands before it rolled out. Um, you're talking about a difference of, 4 points right there, and we lost by 3. So, choose one. We just, I want to say that, this is still year 2. I know that getting off the 3-0 got us to really, get our expectations up, but now we're starting to get, humbled, and now we're sitting at 3-2. Not out of it, but not, feeling ourselves as much as we, not as much as we was, because everybody was talking about, oh, our next 5 opponents 1-3. We're 0-1 against 1-3 teams. And I don't know what was the result of the Vikings game today, but they're next.
They beat Detroit
Okay, so they did put out and they did beat Detroit. Okay,
without Dalvin Cook. He might be back next week.
yeah, because I know he was questionable because I had to take him out of my fantasy team, but but uh, and as much as I want McCaffrey back, and I know he'll make a difference on some plays, but is he really truly the link? I know everybody like you can't build your offense around a running back. Well, we 3-0 with him and 2-0 without him.
Right.
Take him for what it's worth. We paying him all that money and say what you want, but it's always a correlation. That safety net. And don't get me wrong, Chuba Hubbard, he was doing his best. Let's see how many receptions did he have today. He was targeted 6 times. He got the ball 5 yards. 5 times for 33 yards. Uh, we used to send McCaffrey 5 catches for like 63 yards or something. Just that ability to get out the break of them tackles because he Chuba went down with the first hit after reception. Now he ran tough today. Now I got to give him that. He definitely ran tough running the ball, but as far as catching, he was I just didn't see that ability to shake loose that we usually get out of a McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he ran the ball well today, but where you're missing McCaffrey the most is in the pass game, I think. But I mean, it's hard to. I mean, Philadelphia was missing with Lane Johnson. They were missing their guards out for the season, I think. So I mean, it's like we just got to find ways to win games with with that next man up mentality because guys are going to be coming and going all throughout the season. But I think it's definitely, I think it's Christian McCaffrey's offense. You just alone just look at the way Darnold's performance has fallen off the last 2 weeks without him compared to the first two games with McCaffrey. Now, I know, were you guys able to see Robbie Anderson visibly frustrated on the sideline at the game? Or were you able to catch that clip on the TV?
I was too busy being visibly frustrated from my seat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I seen it on Twitter though. I kind of want to see what the story is behind it.
Yeah, after the last interception, you just saw Robbie Anderson on the sideline, visibly frustrated with the wide receivers coach. Now, I mean, I don't know. We're just speculating. We don't know what the nature of that argument was, but you just kind of look at throughout the game, the last 2 weeks. I mean, he's been missed on, open routes deep. I think on the final drive, it said he had a ball hit him on the hands, but it wasn't an easy catch by any means. The ball was off, could have been thrown better, but he tried to lay out, catch it. So, I mean, the ball hit him in his hands as a catch he normally makes, but still not a well-placed ball there. And then I think on that last throw, he was covered, and I think the Darnold Prentice Robbie threw the check down. So it's like Robbie's getting targeted when he's not open. And you just kind of look at, his targets and catches. His catch percentage, I think, is in like 40% or something. And it was similar to that today. I mean, he was targeted 7 times and only connected on 2 of those. So just having a really hard time, getting Robbie involved consistently in this offense. And I think without him, I mean, I don't see us being able to be that explosive offense, that we're trying to be. You noticed anything about, Robbie's involvement or why we're not able to get him involved the way he was last year?
Honestly, I haven't been at the game and now and seeing like being able to see all the routes being run. I can't. I don't have an answer for that because I normally, well, before this game, before I was able to put my eyes on every player. Normally, I watch all 22. It's just Darnold. I would say he was running the deeper concepts, but I saw a little bit of everything today, and I still didn't um see him being targeted. And there was times where he was open for sure, and Darnold not even look at him or over or underthrow him. So I think it's one of those things where the streak might be ugly now, but like once you start hitting a couple here or hit a ball there, hit a ball here, then it's something that'll absolve itself. I think Sam Darnold was trying to press and solve it himself. And I think that's why you see him trying to find him regardless of the coverage. So I mean, I think it's one of those things where we have too many talented guys at wide receiver to worry about getting a guy their touches. Because if one guy is getting touches, then odds are they gonna shift coverage or focus on that one guy, and then from there, other guys will eat. So I think it's something that Darnold needs to improve at is just sharing the sugar and just dealing the ball to who's open.
Yeah, I agree because I got a good look. I wanted to pay attention as well, particularly when with the section I'm sitting in, when the ball when they're throwing the ball towards my way, I was looking a lot um at it, and I could count 4 times Robbie was wide open. So when people want to say trade Robbie, he not producing, or he didn't got paid, he got lazy. Nah, that's bull. He's open. I see him open more now than he was particularly last year, and he being missed now. We don't know what the progressions is, so it's easy for us to look at, oh, he's open. But again, we don't know as fans who is the progression, to be looked at when you're saying things like Sam didn't even look his way. So depending on how they were coached up during the week, we can only speculate what we think. We think open, okay, that's the guy you're supposed to throw it to. That's not always the case. So that's just one of the mysteries, for me as far as with the with the whole thing about Robbie. But um, Robbie's getting open, folks. It's not a Robbie issue.
In respect to this comment, teams aren't giving away good offensive linemen. 'Cause I think Scott Fitterer even said he was trying to trade for other teams' backups. But as you see, I mean, they can go down in a hurry. I mean, we got two starters out, 2 day 1 starters out already. So, you know, I think we're just gonna have to, at least for this season, we just have to accept that the guys we have on the roster are probably the guys we're gonna have to ride with until we can start addressing the position in the offseason. Darnold subtracted 10 points. Dallas scored on interceptions. We win by 2. That's true. I mean, if you subtract the 3 points that we gave Philadelphia off the interception and our own 10-yard line, it's a tied game as well. So, I mean, looking at the last 2 weeks, I mean, that's 13 points off turnovers that ultimately decided the game. So, definitely have to do a better job of taking care of the football, whether he's under pressure or not. And I'm not trying to, be negative and get on Darnold today. I just think, there's a lot of things wrong with our offense besides Darnold. I'm not a guy that's going to point to one person or one position group and say, they're the reason we lost. They're the reason we did this, or that. But I just think, collectively, we have to protect better. Yes. Can receivers do a better job of getting open consistently? Yes. I mean, can Joe Brady possibly do some things on his end? Of course. But, I think with that said, we can't keep coddling Sam Darnold like he's free of, any accountability as well. I mean, his carelessness these last 2 weeks is, there have been deciding factors in both of these losses. Now, JD, you've been grading Darnold the last couple of games. What have you noticed? It seems like the second half after that Houston game, you're starting to see him revert back to some of his old habits in New York.
Yeah, for Darnold, the issue has always been for me patience, and I think he's trying to work ahead too many times as far as his footwork. You'll see him lose his base or not be in losing his base, he loses the ability to make a throw that's there for him. So I think he needs to slow the game down in his head because even when there's no pressure, even if he steps up, all he needs is a simple step up in the pocket. And then there's a throw there most of the time. So I think for him, his bad decision making starts before the throw. A lot of times people will say the quarterback, the bad decision is the throw. It's the feet. It's always going to be the feet for Darnold. So I'm sure if we look back at one of the at this game, his feet might, or at least on 2 of the 3 interceptions, his feet might have been the culprit or why normally he throws or makes bad reads, or he's just off track. He moves off the first read too fast, doesn't go to the second read, which is probably open if the first read isn't. So I think we're starting to see more jet Darnold of him trying to press and force things rather than taking what's there. And that's concerning because that kind of thing can snowball with young QBs. So, yeah, we've definitely seen a regression in as far as the grades and as far as the simple eye test.
This comment here, are we starting to see that Darnold is not it, or is it too early? See, I have the opposite approach. I think he has to prove to be it. So he's not it until he proves it. So I come from a different direction with that kind of comment. I think, after the first three games, I know it's excited to be 3-0 to win, but you still saw a lot of the same bad habits from Darnold, but the teams weren't making us pay for those mistakes. And that's why I always try to tell people when you watch film after a win and you point out negatives, no, we're not being negative and trying to be Debbie Downers and say this, and that. These mistakes that we make against the New York Jets or the Houston Texans, they're going to come back to bite us against teams like the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that's what you're seeing. Some of those bad habits that we were pointing out on our podcast, they're coming back to hurt us now. And now we're starting to see it come to light because we're losing games and it's costing us. Seems like Robbie hasn't been running crossers, drags, and slants like he was last year. I have to see. I don't know what the route distribution is compared to last year, but I mean, regardless of the types of routes he's running, I mean, I've seen him open several times. I mean, just for whatever reason, you just can't get him involved as a major part of the offense. I'm not upset with Joe Brady. I'm not excited about Darnold. We were told to give him a chance. That's okay. Tepper does believe he's on thin ice. The man wants to win. I mean, I can see that as well. I think, Darnold's not going to magically become, somebody he's not. I mean, he had turnover problems in his senior year at USC. He was one of my favorite draft prospects, so I studied him a lot in college. I thought he was the second best quarterback coming out of that draft. But one thing he had to fix was his turnover issues. But he's got good athleticism. He's got a strong arm. He's slow to process coverages, tends to hold the ball too long. And you look at sacks and pressures. I know Kev and Smooth, they're trench guys, so they're going to hold the O-line accountable and study them. But I think a lot of that is kind of a team effort. The quarterback has to help the offensive line, and the offensive line has to help the quarterback. So when you're slow to process things, you're holding the ball, running around in the pocket, trying to extend plays, you're making it hard on the offensive line to hold up. So I think this goes hand in hand with him, being jittery in the pocket, slow to process coverages, and, not being well protected up front. So, I mean, they got to fix that out. I'm not going to give up on Sam. I do think he's a talented player, and he's got basically an audition. I mean, we're 5 games in now. So basically a 12-game audition for him to see, what direction they want to go next year.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Don on thin ice, I mean, as far as a long-term contract, maybe, but I mean, we picked up his 5th-year option, so he's got this year and next year. And as a fan, I understand how we get caught in the moment of our emotions and try to overthink or think too far ahead, too down the road. Yeah, Tepper. Look, I don't know anybody in our organization that doesn't prioritize winning. It's not just Tepper, but I just think that for the decisions that we made to put this team on the field, I think it's really coming back to get us. Where you keep saying, me and Big Smooth are trench guys. And you're right about that. The quarterback got to definitely help them out, and vice versa. I'm tend to think of I would like for the O line to help out the quarterback more than the quarterback helping out the O line. But that's just me. Particularly when you look at our pass block win rate. On a run block, and it ain't just pass blocking; it's run blocking as well. We need to help McCaffrey as electric and magical as McCaffrey's been. McCaffrey has yet to even play with uh, uh, a average offensive line. It's always been like slightly below average. He's done what he's done. Just think what he could do if we could ever put together a top 10 offensive line unit. So for me, I I just think that looking back, and I put this on Twitter, that the type of offensive lineman that we brought in, by signing Cam Irvin and Pat Eflin the first day of free agency, to trading back 3 times in the second round and watching 6 offensive linemen get drafted after we traded out of our 39 spot, to drafting a left tackle and making him play right tackle, and drafting a left guard and making him play right guard, to again, I got to say it, selecting a long snapper who's on IR versus having a stud rookie guard and Trey Smith. And as he mentioned this week, Federer mentioned this week, nobody's giving up their linemen. Nobody's giving up their backup linemen. So that makes me think he probably reached out to Phil and asked about an Andre Dillard, who's like their backup lineman. Now I'm wondering if he started today with the injuries out, but yeah. So when people will be like, "Man, we signed all these cornerbacks, why he can't get no offensive lineman?" I saw somebody on a post submitted a post, said, "How does the signing of Gilmore help our offensive line?" It doesn't directly, But I'm thinking Phil Snow looking at, look. I know your offense struggling. Give me another shutdown corner. I'm trying to try to hold these teams under 15 points a game for you. I mean, with the moves that we're making, okay, we know where we're limited on offense. Let's fortify the other side to to help out as much as possible.
It's way too early to give up on Darnold. That's it. Yeah, that's the right take to have. I don't think anyone's really giving up on him. I mean, he's our guy this year at a minimum. I mean, next year he's got a 5th-year option. So unless they, pull out some blockbuster move to get Aaron Rodgers to Charlotte if he wants to play behind this offensive line, I mean, I think it might be a 2-year audition for him. But I mean, one thing about this front office is if they're not afraid to go after the big fish. I mean, they tried to get Matthew Stafford, they tried to get Deshaun Watson, so they'll be in the mix for anybody. I don't think any position on this team, any guy on this team can't be replaced. They'll continuously try to upgrade it every position, regardless of who it is. Facts, and before the game, it was worse. Was that an Eagle fan that ran on the field? Or a streaker or something? They didn't show it on TV.
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw it. Yeah, he took off his clothes and hopped down. He came off the side where the Panthers come out of. I saw it and I was like, "What in the world? Is this really finna take place?" So yeah, that was that's one of them crazy ass Eagle fans streaking through. Um, I couldn't do nothing but laugh. Like, wow, I've, all these years finally seen a streaker at Bank of America Stadium.
So game aside, I mean, what was the atmosphere at the stadium today? Was it mostly 50-50 or 75 Panther, 25 Eagles, or vice versa? I know there was some reports on Twitter that the Panther, that fans were getting loud when Carolina's offense had the ball. Like, whoa, what's going on there?
I would say it was more like 65-35. We still was the strong majority, but uh, the Eagles fans seem to just all sat together in packs. You'll see a section that's about 20 or 30 of them there, and you go a few sections over. So when they all started making noise, it actually sounded louder, as if they made it dominate. But again, on our fans, they thought we had the game wrapped up. They started leaving early. I saw some fans leaving out middle of the third quarter. I'm like, it's only 15 to 6. Well, you really leaving? Yeah, man, trying to get his head started in this traffic. What?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Hmm.
bruh, like it's depressing, man, to see how other teams like they sounded a lot louder than the numbers that they were. Now, don't get me wrong, they fans do travel well. I had a homegirl of mine that lived down here with me. She from Philly. She said about 20 of her family and friends, flew down from Philadelphia for this game. So yeah, they do travel well, but based on just numbers, I would say it's about 65-35 Panthers. But when they sit in them packs together like that and start doing that stinking ass, Eagles chant, it just sounded a lot louder because they was in unison.
Let's see. I know it's too early, but if we do struggle for the rest of the season, how would you? Let's not start this tank for Howell stuff just yet. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Sam Howell, a player. I think he's going to be a great pro. I mean, if we get him, I'd be ecstatic. But it's just we still got a lot of football left to play before we can start worrying about draft positioning, big boards, where it's going to fall here, who's going to go there. But I think Howell, looking at this quarterback class, he's probably going to be one of the top 2-3 quarterback coming out this class. And considering Spencer Rattler's he got benched yesterday.
I don't know. Way my Tar Heels looked against Florida State, Sam done lost some money this year, bro.
Right.
All these
Hey, look,
quarterbacks done lost.
hey, look. We ain't got that first round left. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, if Sam's sitting there, I ain't gonna be mad. With the 14th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Sam Howell. Oh yay! Hopefully me and Will be in Vegas when it happens.
Nah, but to answer the question, I like him as a player. If we're at 15, 16, 17, he's on the board, and there's no left tackle worth taking, why not? I mean, I think the advantage of that is Sam Darnold is on his 5th-year option year next year. So if you want to draft a quarterback and sit him a year, now's the time to do it. see it look 50-50. Working at Eastgate, there was about 60-40. That chant had me fired up. I'm going to the New York Carolina game. I'm gonna be a lot of fights that day. Hey, the Giants got pretty banged up today. Daniel Jones got a concussion. Saquon Barkley got a bad ankle injury. So I mean, we'll see how that. I mean, we don't play them for a couple of weeks, but I mean, they're pretty gonna be limping in the next week at least. I'm struggling to think this, but where do we go from here? Shuffle the O line with the trash that we have. To me, I think you got to put Moulton back at right tackle. I'd rather have a above average right tackle than a struggling, below average left tackle. If that's what he's going to give us, left tackle position. I mean, I think you got to at least. The rookie was playing it. Brady Christensen been playing left tackle all through college. Why not just put guys at their natural position and let them sink at this point? I don't think it can get any worse than it is now. I think Paradis and Daly earn their starting spot, so I don't think we replace them. As far as John Miller, I know a lot of people want to see Deontay Brown, but I mean, Kev, is he even better than Miller at this stage in his career?
Run blocking, I would say yes, but it's in the pass blocking. Again, you're talking about a player that's adjusting to being nearly 40 pounds lighter than what he's been playing with the last few years. So, just from a balance point of view standpoint, pretty much look at this as almost like a red shirt year for him. I would say. Now he was active today, so that was good to see him, in uniform for the first time. Uh, I don't believe he came in on any special packages or anything like that, any heavy line packages or anything. But I just hope that this continues to fuel his hunger and the drive to improve himself because for the size that he was playing in the SEC, and getting everybody best shot at Alabama, he didn't get, we talk about his pass set, but he didn't give up, no sacks in 3 years. So I think that the pass blocking bill is there, but at the NFL level, with the athleticism of these defensive linemen, I just think that he can't tote that kind of weight around and be effective like he got away with that at Alabama.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, think about, I think he was 365 at the Senior Bowl. And he got down, so he's spending
Yeah,
his time
365, and
right.
last I checked, matter of fact, I read an article I had clipped and say that he was like right at about between 330 and 335.
Yeah, so think about between January and training camp, he's more focused on losing weight than strength and conditioning to play NFL football. So I agree. I think a red shirt year would be good for him. I don't see CMC making a difference. Our O-line is atrocious. We'll see. I mean, I think McCaffrey it's always better to have Christian McCaffrey than not have him on the field. I'll tell you that much. But I mean, even with him, we put 19 points on the Jets. So we weren't really exactly an explosive offense, whether he's healthy or not. So obviously, there's a lot more issues than that. Okay, we're going on an hour, 20 minutes. Looks like no more fan comments. Be sure to tune in. We're going back to Monday, right, Kev? Tomorrow night. Talk about the Minnesota Vikings matchup.
Yeah, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. Like I say, unless something unforeseen with one of our work schedules takes place. You all tomorrow, Will? I know it's a holiday, Columbus Day.
Not have to work, but I'll be ready by time we go on 9 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, I'll be available at 9 as well. I work that good old 11:30 to 8 shift, so yeah, I'll be ready to go. Um, like I said, if 9 is too late for y'all, I mean, we could push it up to 8:30. Like I say, anytime after 8, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll tune in tomorrow night. We'll give you an update. We'll break down the Vikings game, throw this film in the garbage can and burn it. And see what got another home game next week against a tough Vikings team that beat us last year. So see what we can do to pay them back and try to get back on the win column. That's the thing I want to see. We were 3-2 last year as well. I think that's when we had that losing streak. So got to find a way to get back one in the win column this week. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna enjoy the game tonight. I think it's Kansas City and Buffalo. You watch the Panthers North. I appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Be sure to check us out tomorrow. A tough loss, but hey, we're still 3-2. Still a lot of football left to play. So let's see if we can hang in there and try to still play relevant football in December, because that's the ultimate goal in this year too. So appreciate y'all. Talk to you tomorrow. We'll holler.